Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do a full series review on Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind by Hayao Miyazaki. I read this for Manga Hoarder's book club reading thing that happened in April where she hosted a readathon of Nausicaa and a bunch of us read Nausicaa. I did not participate in any kind of forum. I think she had a Goodreads page or something, and I haven't participated at all in the month of April of actually discussing this with anybody, but I did read the whole thing, and I am discussing it now. This will be spoiler-free as much as possible to be kind of like my regular reviews, but I did want to mention that I did read it for that readathon that Manga Hoarder hosted. Thank you, Laura, for hosting that, because this has been on my shelf for a while, and I've been very intimidated to read it, so I am very glad that you had chosen to read this. I quite enjoyed it. I have obviously the hardcover editions, these two volumes here, giant, like massive books. I didn't actually mind reading in this format. I usually, with larger books like this, I just put a pillow on my lap and I put the book on the pillow so that I don't have to hold it up. It doesn't hurt my hands, and I just kind of read it that way, and that's fine. If you get in a comfortable enough position and use a pillow, then these are perfectly fine. Uh, yeah, and I enjoy the large trim size because there's so much going on these pages that it's nice to just see what's happening and be able to read it more clearly. So, uh, this is a lot. This is a whole lot happening in these two giant volumes. Uh, it's very I don't know. I didn't watch the movie. I don't have the movie. I've never seen it. Um, I watched a few different Hayao Miyazaki films, but I'm not really one for more fantastical titles. It's just not my thing. I bought this because it's a gorgeous box set, and I knew it would be something I wanted in my collection. I wasn't really expecting to enjoy it all that much, to be completely honest. But I really did. I really, really loved it. It's a lot of political kind of intrigue, a lot of war, um, female empowerment, which I love, and just all around lovely. Like, it really was. It was sad, like heartbreaking, also very kind of nature focused, which I wasn't expecting. Um, yeah, it really was. It was something, and it's very hard to collect my thoughts on something like this because this feels so epic that I just can't wrap my brain around it. I recommend reading it for sure, um, but it's a lot, and I feel like this is one that I will need to, not immediately, but I will need to read this again because it's very difficult to completely wrap my head around everything that happened. This is also one that you cannot just read leisurely. You need to pay attention because if you don't pay attention, you will completely get lost and not know what's happening. Um, I thankfully I put it down when I started to drift a little bit, and just took my time and read it when I had the capacity, the brain capacity to understand what was happening. Um, but yeah, it just wasn't what I was expecting, but in a very good way. And the art is absolutely phenomenal. It's just like mind blowing. I imagine, can't even imagine trying to illustrate something like this. It's it's so fantastic. The characters are very fascinating to me. Their motivations, their actions, and yeah, Nausicaa is something else. She is really, really, really fascinating. She's the princess of this um, place called Valley of the Wind. Um, and there's a there's a war happening. They live in a place and a time where the earth has been basically decimated by humanity, and there's now these poisonous spores this poisonous forest basically that exists. And so if you and Nausicaa lives in the Valley of the Wind, where the wind happens to, situate itself in a way that the spores don't enter their valley. But if they leave the valley, they need to wear masks and full kind of protective gear so they don't get poisoned by the spores. And it's just a very interesting kind of commentary, I guess, on how we treat our planet and how we should and can do better, not only for the environment, but also for ourselves, for humanity as a whole. And it's very interesting. And obviously, I mean, Laura didn't plan it this way, but this is because she had announced this readathon well before everything, but very fitting read for this time, I think. Yeah, I think it was a really interesting time to read this manga. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit speechless, to be honest. But I highly, highly recommend reading it. And like I said, I'm not someone who would have picked this up and thought I would really enjoy it. I picked it up basically because I wanted it to be a part of my collection and figured I would read it one day. But I wasn't really banking on loving it or anything. But this will stick with me. I know that for sure, and I will read this again one day. And I know there are multiple different editions you can get this in, but I'm perfectly happy. There's a lot of beautiful color poster pages in these, and like I said, if you just find a comfortable position and not hold these up the whole time you're reading them because they weigh a ton, then it really isn't that difficult to read this edition. And I'm happy with my choice to purchase this, but to each their own. If you participated in this readathon, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've posted a video or something somewhere that I can see what you thought of Nausicaa. I'm not the most articulate when it comes to this series because like I said, it was a lot. But I am very grateful to Laura for hosting this readathon and looking forward to hearing other people's thoughts on it. Yeah, highly recommend picking it up. It's gorgeous. It really, really is. If for nothing else, just look at the pictures. It's so beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, I'm a little. I apologize for my kind of scatterbrained hyper speaking. I'm just. I'm still working right now, but I'm not working in my normal environment. I'm working from home, and I'm used to seeing hundreds of people a day. And right now, I'm seeing no one except my family. And it's so I haven't had an actual conversation with many humans in a while. And so I'm starting to my ability to process conversation is not, or speaking really in general, is not at the standard that I usually carry myself. So yes, if I sound like I'm losing it a little bit, it's because I am. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching.